Hi, this is Jason Sohail Ascari.
And this is Anna Ascari.
I grew up and studied about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all my life.
And I never got the chance to watch any of the original series.
The both of us were going to watch all 193 episodes of the original series.
And give you a perspective from an expert.
And a new viewer.
This is what we call a Turtle Recall.
What is going on? Welcome to episode 4 of Turtle Recall.
Welcome to the episode with the longest title ever.
Yes. The episode title of this episode is like a freaking sentence. Hot Rotting Teenagers from Dimension X. Like, that is so freaking long. You know, things obviously in the world is like, you know, in like this topsy-turvy kind of situation and everything. And I wanted to address a few things about conventions. And as for literally right before we're recording, I went and checked my phone and I got a message from Nakia Burris. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. She was the Yellow Power Ranger. And she said that they're moving the Power Ranger convention to March of next year.
Oh my god.
That one was originally supposed to come in June.
You know, for the future, this time of history will be like a blurry history that nothing is happening, and the future people doesn't know what's happening. They just know people were inside the house. Yes,
exactly. In the freaking like history books, everyone, like nothing actually is going to happen. There's just going to be this thing. It's like, oh, everyone was just in quarantine in their houses. Like nothing is happening. But yeah, so that literally just happened. Like I literally just got the message about that. The one I really wanted to talk about was unfortunately MomoCon. MomoCon is unfortunately canceled.
I'm sad.
I know, we're both really sad about this. If you guys don't know, we always host a panel at MomoCon. I've been doing it for, I think almost 10 years now. I remember I did it, like, the first time I did it was right before the 2012 series started.
Yes.
So, yeah, but they went ahead and canceled it instead of, like, first it was delayed, but they didn't have a date, but then they went ahead and canceled it. I believe they canceled it because they're probably afraid that it was going to get so close to DragonCon. The people that work for MomoCon also do the scheduling for DragonCon as well, so...
They probably canceled DragonCon either.
I hope... If they cancel DragonCon, like, this thing is going to be going on for a long time then, because DragonCon's not happening until September.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's how... The other conventions that we were planning to go to, MegaCon and Lexington, they both have been delayed to June. So if those cons still happen, we should still be there, hopefully. We'll definitely find out. But yeah, that's just things about the con world right there.
Hopefully in the future we'll have Ninja Turtles convention, and we never cancel it.
Exactly. We need a Ninja Turtles convention. We totally need to do that.
Of course.
All right. So let's go ahead and get with the news. All right, so for news-wise, nothing classic Ninja Turtle related, unfortunately. Everything classic related has been kind of like, you know...
Shut down.
Yeah, shut down. Exactly. But speaking of shut down, unfortunately, IDW has stopped production on, like, everything. And that also means Ninja Turtles.
Oh.
So... Issue 105, which is coming out next month, is going to be the last issue, and then hiatus starts. The series is coming back. Like we just don't know when yet.
What about like digital? They don't even like making it digital.
Well, they are gonna make it digital. It's just that right now no one's working.
Oh, okay.
They shut down everything. All the artists are not working. The writers aren't working. They've all just kind of like been kind of getting this like stay-at-home order.
Okay.
And just no one's going into the office and everything. I know some of the artists and writers have been like going out and like going on Twitter, be like, oh no, what do we do? What do we do? I mean, but all this will pass. But yeah, that's unfortunate. But I still haven't had a chance to get 104 yet, mainly because my comic book store has been closed. And I know I can get it digitally, but I have all the other issues physical, and I'd rather wait to get this physical, especially now with this hiatus going on. I think I can definitely wait, because once the store opens back up, at least I know there's at least 2 issues I can look forward to.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but that's the unfortunate part. But
do you have any good news for us?
I do. I'm glad you asked, because when one hiatus is about to start, another hiatus is about to end. On April 24th, Rise of the Ninja Turtles is coming back on Nicktoons. Not Nickelodeon, unfortunately, but on Nicktoons. And it's going to be...
Isn't it Nicktoons the one that our little son is watching it?
No, he watches Nick Jr.
Oh, okay. That's
he watches Nick Jr. No, Nicktoons is that one that's on the AT&T channel, because of, like, so we have, like, different services, and some services have some channels, some other services have different channels. Unfortunately, Nicktoons for us is the one service that we have that doesn't have a DVR, so if we don't watch it live, we don't get to watch it.
Oh, it's the one that I have to wait until like 10 o'clock that you watch Ninja Turtles?
I'm hoping that these noon episodes are not going to be at 10 o'clock. They are going to be, this one, at least April 24th, is going to be an hour. I have a feeling that from the promo, it sounded like each episode is going to be, each week, they're going to have like a hour of new episodes. I'm hoping that this doesn't mean that they're going to try to just rush all these episodes and then like never have the show again, but we'll definitely find out. But yeah, Rise of the Ninja Turtles had the weirdest airing schedule. Like, so when it first started, like, we had to wait like a week, and then it'd be like half an episode. We'd only watch like 11 minutes, and then.
They just want to deconstruction everything.
Yeah, exactly.
From the story to the showtime and everything.
Yeah, and then like once the series like started getting like interesting, then all of a sudden we had to like wait like forever for new episodes to come, and then new episodes came. They stopped going on Nickelodeon. They went into Nicktoons, and then as she said, it was 11:30 p.m. on Saturday nights. Like, who are you competing with? Who are you competing with that you can't air it at any other time?
You have to earn it.
Exactly. And it's like you would expect, like, when it was at 10:30 that there would be like this like big lead-in or something like that, or surrounded by other new shows. No, it was just like reruns of SpongeBob and Loud House, and then like Rise of the Ninja Turtles, and then next is like more reruns of SpongeBob and Loud House. We'll see what's going on, but I know Rise is kind of divided. Like, you know, people either really like it or they really don't like it. Like me personally, I find it enjoyable for what it is. It's definitely not my favorite out of the series, but I enjoy. I'm having fun watching it.
Yes. Actually, when you first start talking about it, I was like, oh no, like half of the people are probably like turned off and left.
yes, exactly.
They're mad at you and hate you forever.
Exactly. But you know, we are talking about the classic series. So, but that's pretty much it for the news. Hopefully next week we get some more happier news and more exciting news, especially the news that pertain to the classic Turtles.
Of course.
All right.
Before you start talking about this episode, I have some question about the theme songs.
Okay, I want to hear it.
So in the theme song, we hear someone says radical rat. Is that Crank?
No, that's Splinter. Like. Oh.
No, it's not the Splinter voice.
Oh, the voice?
Yes.
I really don't know who's the actual voice that says those little blurbs, like, you know, that says like, he's a radical rat, and
that's so cool.
like yeah, like it's like give me a break and like that kind of stuff. If I had to like guess, maybe Rob Paulsen, only because it kind of sounds like him, but it could be just someone else entirely. I don't know. It could be Chuck Lorre for all we know, or the other person who wrote the theme song. I feel so bad. I feel so bad because two people wrote this theme song, but one became a successful executive producer, and the other one I have no idea what his name is, and so we only talk about the other one. Actually, something else I wanted to talk about before we get into the episode. Do you remember last week you asked me like who was the writer of these episodes? And I told you, it's on our thumbnails, and I keep forgetting. All right, I actually wrote it down. It's David Wise and Patty Howarth. Both of them wrote every episode in this season.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so cool. So I started doing some digging and everything.
Yes.
And then here's where you're gonna cry.
What happened?
All right. So unfortunately, David Wise, he's actually wrote for a few like classic children's series like G.I. Joe and Transformers and that kind of stuff. He passed away in the beginning of March of this year. Really? Yeah.
Oh my god.
I know. I was so I was like, oh, we just started this and everything, and like the first thing I was thinking, I was like, oh, maybe, hopefully we can get in contact with some of these people. Well, obviously we can't get in contact with them.
It's okay that we can contact with them, but rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace, David. Like, unfortunately, like I said, he passed away at the beginning of like this month, and like so right when we were beginning this podcast.
I think it's very valuable that now he's not in this world, and we are searching his name and we are talking about him. So it means that he did the right thing. Exactly.
So all right, let's go ahead and start talking about today's episode. Hot Rodding Teenagers from Dimension X. That is a freaking mouthful. This episode first aired on December 17th, 1987, and this is actually the first full episode that young little Jason Sohail watched when he was a little child. He wasn't going by Jason then, he was just going by Sohail.
How did you like it then?
How did I like it then?
Yes.
I was all excited because this is like, I was like, oh my gosh.
I know you got excited with I still love the idea that you said to your brother that Krang was talking gum.
Yeah, talking gum. Yeah, this is when I found out Krang was a bad guy. I thought he was a good guy, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I guess he works with this guy. And like because I only watched like the last 5 minutes of it. But before we actually get into the episode, at Larry Seahawker from Twitter mentioned this about the episode. He said that he always was something he always remembered about a thing about rats will be remembered is that episode was out of order, as Hot Rodding Teenagers was before on the VHS, and it wasn't basically because this episode got the title and the opening episode, and it played before a thing about rats on the VHS.
Really?
Yeah. And he also said he watched that VHS till it broke. I'm sorry that your VHS broke. Hopefully you got another one. Hopefully you got this on like DVD and digital. But yeah, so basically, when they put this episode on a video cassette, for some reason, like, they put like this episode as like the opening episode, and then the next episode was the thing about rats. And I guess because the one episode had rats in the title and the other episode had something a little more catchier. Something about teenage.
I think I like the last episode better.
You like the last episode better?
Yes.
Well, how about you go ahead and give us a summary about this episode then?
So, this episode was a little complicated for me. First of all, this was the first time that we get to see the van, and I never knew that they made it, and it was very interesting for me. And the story was about Dimension X, that some weird teenagers came from the Dimension X, and Krang was the one that was managing the Dimension X, and they send him to this world, and I don't know, it was very complicated. First, the turtles were trying to go to Dimension X. They knew that they have to go to the metro because it's underneath. But then they saw those weird teenagers with those flying cars, so they start following them, and the rest of the story. Then we get to see those stone kind of characters that they look like new superheroes. That's all I got.
That is so close enough. That is definitely close enough. I love the episodes that you watch. One day, the rest of the world are gonna watch these episodes too.
And for some reason, the teenager from Dimension X look like elves.
Yes. All right. So the teenagers, they're called Neutrinos.
Uh-huh.
And yes, they have the pointy ears and everything. They basically look like what people in the 60s thought that aliens would look like.
Oh,
and
okay.
and like, you know, and they were like, they had like the lingo of like teenagers like from the 60s and everything. They were like so like stuck in the past, like Daddy-O and all this stuff. You know, so they did like make action figures of these people.
Really?
They did.
Oh, this is the first crush of Michelangelo.
That is the first crush of Michelangelo. Yes. All right. Obviously, you guys can't see because it's an audio podcast, but I just pulled out of magic my original action figure of Kala. Oh, now we only owned two for some reason. For some reason, we never got Dask, but we got Zach and Kala.
Do they have cars?
They do have cars. We never got the cars.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but they did make the cars. And I believe they made the cars before they made the other two. So it was weird what they did with the action figure. So they first made an action figure of Zach. Because Zach is the one with the red hair. He's kind of like the leader kind of guy. And then like 2 years later, I think, maybe a year later, like sometime later, they made Dask and Kala, and they were part of the Toon line, and in fact, like, they remade Zach, and they put him in like brighter colors to match the this style, like, because like the Toon line was really bright and colorful, while all the other action figures were kind of like a little darker and muted colors to kind of like make it more actiony for boys and everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
I wanted to make them like very different from like.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't know why we never got. I never know why we didn't get Dask. We got Zach, because at that time, Zach was the only one that was available, and so Zach looks a little different from Kala. I personally, I couldn't find where my Zach figure was, but. And then, like, I remember when Kala was released, I was like all excited for Kala because I like Michelangelo, and I really wanted Michelangelo to have a girlfriend. So I was like, yeah!
And she has orange hair and orange, like, pants. And
Yes. Did her voice sound familiar to you? Because, you know, I know you watch a lot of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and Mix It Up and that kind of stuff. But so did her voice kind of sound a little familiar to you?
I actually didn't pay attention to the voice, but was it like Minnie Mouse?
Not Minnie Mouse, Daisy Duck.
Oh,
she is voiced by Tress McNeil.
Oh, okay.
And so as she was talking, all I hear was Daisy. That's all I could hear from them. The Neutrinos were fun characters. They brought them into the 2012 series, but I didn't like the way they brought them into the 2012 series because they were in one of the space episodes, but they were like these tiny little aliens, and like they all had like the same color and body and didn't talk or anything like that. It was the one where Michelangelo gets sick. If you remember that episode.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. And like that was supposed to be them, and I was like, I didn't like I like that they did a callback to the Neutrinos, but I wish like we actually got like them.
Yeah.
One other thing about the Neutrinos I want to add was, because I never actually told you the story. So, you know how I have like that movie comic book that's in our, well, it used to be our computer room, now it's your craft room.
Yeah.
And like, eventually got signed by Kevin Eastman. I won that because I was the only person to know the names of all three of the Neutrinos.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'm proud of you.
Yes. Oh gosh, this was like so many years ago, down at Anime Festival Orlando. There was this like Ninja Turtle fan panel where we actually got to. It was actually a really fun panel. I actually really liked the way it was done. We went and we watched the original movie, and we ordered pizza. The pizza came in, and as we're watching the movie together. Before the movie started, like they did this trivia thing. They asked the first trivia question. I went and like raised my hand. And I was like, because I knew what the answer was. But I was so cheated out. So what, like, they first asked me, like, in the movie, what was the video game that the kids were playing in the first movie, and I told them exactly, like, I told them because it was Narc, and I told them they're fighting the last boss, and I was like, and then they're like, what? And then they asked me, what was the boss's name? And I was so mad, because I know about Ninja Turtles. I don't know trivia about a 90s video game called Narc. Yeah. I mean, I told them everything that happened in the movie. I told them it was a big head, he was spitting out tongues, and then like the person behind me got the prize because he knew what the boss's name for that video game was, and I didn't know. So they graciously.
You should always remember the boss name.
I know. Oh gosh, and if I remember, I think it was like just boss or something like that, or the boss. I can't even remember now, but I remember it was like, it was something. It was something silly with the word boss in it. But so they. Because like everyone was upset. Everyone was upset in there because like I basically explained everything except for knowing what the person's name was. So
that was so not fair.
Yeah, so that's why they let me answer the next question. And then the next question was what were the three Neutrino names were, and I knew that like right off the top of my head because that was actually Ninja Turtle trivia and not freaking Dark trivia. But all right, that's enough about a 90s video game and the Neutrinos. Well, we're going to talk more about the Neutrinos, but let's go ahead and start talking about the episode. So one of the first things I wrote is one of the first things that happens in this episode is the Turtles, they bring the van to Baxter's lab. To add
pushing up the stairs.
That's exactly what I wrote. Here, van on the stairs. I want to know what freaking building has a stairwell that is big enough to push a vehicle up it.
A giant vehicle.
Because this isn't like a Prius or like one of those like tiny smart cars. This is like a van. This is a engine guzzling van, or gas guzzling, not engine guzzling, gas guzzling van that they're just pushing up, and then April's like in like the freaking like driver's seat, like.
Yes, I was wondering what April is doing exactly.
What is April doing? Is she driving? No. No, she's not. She's not driving it. Is she making it heavier? Yes. I mean, it would have been.
She's a lady. She can push the van.
I'm not saying for her to push the van. She could have taken the elevator by herself and met them up there, as the four turtles pushed the van. No,
she was just a motivation for the Turtles.
She was a motivation. So, they bring the van, they're bringing it to Baxter's lab. One of the things they mention is like, oh, we won't see Baxter again for a long time. Well, guess what? They see Baxter in season 2. Spoilers. Baxter becomes a pretty major villain in season 2, to be honest. But they will see Baxter again.
Before going to the talking about the van, one of the things that I pay attention and I loved it was that the movie started with a water effect. It was the rain on the floor.
Oh yeah.
And first we see the reflection of the everything, and then it goes to the actual scene, which I thought it was very cinematic, and I really loved it.
That was actually pretty cool. No, I definitely agree with you. I totally didn't even write that down because I just like kind of like.
Got excited.
I got excited about the van. I was so distracted by this thing. But no, I agree with you. That was a really cool cinematic way to intro everything. Oh, do you have anything else before we get to the van? Because I still have stuff about to talk about the van.
I'm talking about that.
All right, I want to know how freaking strong Donnie is. Did you see what Donnie did to the van?
He just took out all the pieces and the door and like.
He just ripped it with his bare hands. He just like just ripped it out. like really, and like okay. He ripped out this thing like it was like a piece of paper, but they needed 4 turtles to push it up the stairs. Like, where did he get the second wind?
So whoever says that Donnie is just a mind, we have to show that scene to them.
Exactly. Also, something else I wanted to add about the van scene was, at one point, like the turtles are kind of like talking, and they're kind of like almost defining like what their motivation is for this series, as like they're kind of like, hey, why are we protecting everyone in their light? And it's kind of like, oh, we're heroes. I guess we're the ones who have to do this.
So I love what Mikey said. Face it, man. It's the only job we can do.
See, exactly. That was their motivation. That was their motivation. Mikey just basically says, this is the only thing we can do.
So when he said face it, man, that moment it was like the way Chef Ramsay says, get it together.
That's exactly right. Mikey, classic Mikey here, the Chef Ramsay of the turtles. And of course, like, the way that the turtles, like, get the van out of the building is, of course, they gotta drive it down the stairs. The funny thing to me was like, it's like, hey kids, we're gonna do something crazy, dangerous, and stupid, but we're gonna buckle our seatbelts. Hold on. And like they made sure that there's a shot of everyone buckling their seatbelts.
They just wanted to make sure that Donnie made a good job.
Exactly.
And the inside the van, if you pay attention, inside the van they had like GPS and all these like map and all these things that these days we have.
Right.
They had it back then.
Exactly. They had all that back then. And except like, it was like taking up the whole van. Like everything they have in that van, I can like now fit in this small little phone in my hand right now.
But you don't have that shell on top of your car.
I don't have the shell on top of the car.
Shame on you.
I know, shame on me. Although I know a lot of people like to call the van the TMNT van. The official name is Party Wagon. Just to let you guys know, that is like, I know they never said the word Party Wagon in this episode, but later on, somewhere they'll say Party Wagon. At least that's what the Playmates toy was called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, and I actually I had the original van. It was actually really fun. Like, you can actually like one of the doors like flipped out, and like you can have a turtle sitting there, and he had a little gun and everything, and then like you could fit 2 turtles in the front, and then there was like seats. Like and I remember the instruction manual said like it seats, I think they said like 4 or 5 figures, or how many figures you can stuff in. Like they just said you don't have to put them in the seats, you can just put the figures stuff in. Yes, exactly. And like the way that toy was like you you can open up the roof, and that's like where you put the figures in, and like and to set the door, because the door was a spring, you had to like put like the spring and close the door, so like that way that side door doesn't just fly open and everything. And then like
I like that how the side doors were opening and they could stand there to fight.
Yeah, exactly.
In the movie.
Yes. And but the toy only had one side door, it did not have two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They probably wanted to make it cheaper.
Of course they wanted. They wanted to make it cheaper and more practical, and also probably. I mean, well, I would say less dangerous for kids, but this is the same company that made the pizza thrower that like injured children and animals. Even though those pizza says don't do that. Something I will also want to add is like, so our first shot of the Technodrome. You know, we see Shredder and Krang and everything. Krang's like, you know, build the body, and Shredder's like, no, I'm gonna open up a portal to your dimension so I can get weapons. You know, Shredder being a political person, basically, like just being like, oh no, I can get weapons from your dimension instead of like, you know, helping you with a body. One of the things that we see, and I completely forgot about this, is that we see like a image of the other punks as mutants. I don't know if you caught that. No, it was like the still image. It was like one of those blink and it's gone moment. And like, but like do you remember like 2 episodes before, and I said, oh, we never see those punks again, and we don't know what happened to them, but all we just see is Bebop and Rocksteady? Apparently they were sitting in the Technodrome and mutated, but they never get used.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
They're just like sitting there, just like, and like, I mean, they're probably still sitting there to this day. They're like I wonder if like Bebop and Rocksteady have to go and like feed them, and like they're like, oh, is it our turn yet? And they're like, no, not yet. Maybe at the same time, maybe Bebop and Rocksteady are like purposely not letting them go because they want to be like the winners of this, and they're like, oh man, these people, they might be better than us.
Don't be surprised if they come back in the Rise and people will be mad at them. No, we won it.
What's one of the next things you have in your notes here?
So, just write my line.
April drive like Lola. With the turtle van going through the...
Yes.
Right, that's right. She even hit the freaking what's that called? The fire hydrant. That's what you call that thing. She hits a fire hydrant and explodes. Yeah.
Yeah, she was driving like Lola from the
from the Looney Tunes cartoons. Like, if you haven't seen, I believe it's I believe it's called the Looney Tunes show. I believe that's what they call it. It was made like a few years ago. It was on Cartoon Network. It lasted for like 2 seasons. It was like so underrated, and like, but Lola, when they introduced her, she was like crazy, and like it was like fantastic because she was so much better than she was in Space Jam. But like the thing is, when she drove like really bad.
So I'm still confused about the Krang. So
okay.
They said that Krang said that his body was vanished.
Yes, his body was vanished.
And he made the Dimension X, or he was.
He is from Dimension X. That's actually that's the dimension he's from. And it's not really a planet, but it's like this area, and like we will actually see what Dimension X looks like. I think we actually see it in the next episode. At least I think that's for the first time we see it in the next episode. But basically, he did something bad, and so they kicked him out of Dimension X. And when they kicked him out, they took away his body.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And like we actually do, there like much later on, we actually see what his body would have looked like. And it's like totally different from what you would expect it to look like.
No, I'm so curious.
Yeah. That's gonna be so later on, but but yeah, that's why that's how the series explains like why he's just a brain and everything. Like, you know, he needs but like he can't do anything because since he doesn't have a body, and apparently his tentacles can't do much. Because it's always like, oh, I would pin. He even says at one point to the Stone Warriors, like, oh, I'll pin a metal at you if I had hands. I'm like, but you still have tentacles. You can still hold stuff. We saw you untie a rope.
There was a scene which I thought was very funny. Krang was excited, and when he was jumping with the stool.
Yes, he was something, and the stool was kind of like moving.
Yes.
Like it was moving, like it was like his own legs.
Yes.
Yes, that was a cool scene. Actually, I like that. It was actually really animated. I did kind of allude to this, but like at this point in the episode, we get introduced to the Stone Warriors. Basically, the two main Stone Warriors that have names, which are General Trag and Granitor. And I don't believe we actually heard the name Granitor in this episode. No. But Trag is the orange one. He's kind of like the leader. And his second in command is Granitor, and he was the tall gray one.
Actually, I wrote metal and this metal guy and the stone guy. I thought the other one is metal.
No, the other guy's stone. They're all stones. No, so something I do want to address with these guys. One collectible game I like to play is Heroclix. I've got into it because they had Ninja Turtle stuff. Their latest Ninja Turtle set, I'm hoping is not their last Ninja Turtle set, but all signs point to it is. They actually brought General Trag, and actually General Trag is the only new figure that they brought, the new mold that they brought into that one, where it wasn't all pixelated. So I was all excited about that, and then they made one for Granitor, and this was so disappointing because Granitor, they just recolored General Trag with the gray and the purple helmet.
Oh, yeah, right. I think I remember.
Yeah. If you remember, because I know you edited that video and everything when we did the unboxing.
Especially his face is so different.
Exactly. He has a big long beak. His body is different. He has the big long shoulders. Heroclix is notorious. Just notorious for reusing sculpts and just repainting them. In fact, most of that Ninja Turtle set was just old sculpts just repainted. Like 4 of the turtles were the exact same from like the first set. Not even new colors with them. It's just that this one, like, they just really went lazy. I would have preferred that they didn't have a Granitor at all, if as opposed to just a lazy way to make him.
So they're like mutated character from the Dimension X.
Well, they're not mutated because that's what they were. But they're just warriors made out of stone.
Oh, okay.
And obviously in this episode, we learned that Dimension X is like this war planet, or war dimension, I should say, because it's not really Dimension X is not really a planet. But so everyone is in constant fighting, and then you have the Neutrinos. Neutrinos love peace, and they want to have fun, and that's why Krang and the Stone Warriors don't like them, because they influence fun and they want to have peace, and they're like, in fact, at one point, the turtles ask them, "Oh, do you have weapons on your space cruisers?" And they said, "Yes, because it is mandated by law." That we have to have weapons. That is just crazy. That's like the county that seriously, this is true. The county that we live in, or I'm sorry, the city that we live in, not the county. The city that we live in, it is by law, every household should have a gun.
Really?
Yeah. It's one of those that's it's not one of those laws that people go and enforce and everything like that. The cops aren't going to go knock on our house and arrest us for not having a gun inside this house. But it was one of those things because we are in Georgia. We're in close to the Atlanta area. It was made during the time of the Civil War, where people were coming in.
But they still didn't change it.
They still didn't change it. It's one of those instances.
Okay, now I feel better.
Yeah, now you feel yes. It's one of those laws, and people like to make fun of it. Like so many people will make fun of it around the area because they just never went and updated it. But that's the reason why we have this silly law.
Hopefully, we make them go and update it.
yes, exactly. But you know, speaking of
these guys, these stone warriors, they were bending in front of Krang and like telling him that, where's your body?
Exactly, because Krang is their overlord. Krang is their ruler.
Oh, okay.
And Krang didn't want to see them because Krang was embarrassed because he didn't have a body.
It's like he was naked.
Yes, exactly. And actually, so, we're talking about guns and everything. Well, this is a perfect segue into this. We go through, we see the Technodrome, and then next scene we see the Turtles and the van, and all of a sudden Raph is in shotgun. See, I told you I can make it into. I can segue into guns, but he's in shotgun, sitting next to April. This is a van. How did they just go and just kind of rearrange themselves? Did April just stop and just be like, Leo, let me go ahead and.
You mean Donatello was driving?
No, Raphael was in the front with April. April was still driving.
Yes, you're right.
Yes. Shotgun means the seat next to the passenger,
okay.
Next to the driver.
Yes.
I'm teaching my wife things.
It's okay. Now they know how much I don't know.
Yes, exactly. The Turtles have seen Neutrinos. They go and jump into their cruiser and everything. And Raphael says the phrase, "Book 'em, Dono." Do you know where that is from? Probably not.
No.
Probably half our listeners don't even know where this is from.
Who says that, Raphael?
Yeah, Raphael is the one that says it. It is making fun of a catchphrase from a very popular TV show, Hawaii Five-0. Hawaii Five-0, there was a character, I completely blanking on the character's name, but he'd always his catchphrase was, "Book 'em, Dano." Oh. And Raphael replaced the Dan with Don. And so it was, "Book 'em, Dono!" Instead of pull him over.
That was smart.
Yes, exactly. And here's where we date the series now. Because now, this is obviously going to be a reference, especially when our child watches this, not going to understand what Raph is talking about, but he'll probably still laugh about it anyway.
Yes, and Mikey was saying, "Hey, watch it, you're ruining my shell."
Donnie says that.
No, it was Michelangelo, because even later we see that a part of his shell is
That was Donnie. Mikey was the one with the turtle wax.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. Donnie's shell was being scraped on the building.
Uh-huh.
And then Mikey comes in. He has a jar of turtle wax. And he was like, "Hold on here. Let me put the turtle wax on you."
Okay.
Yeah. There is one point. I believe it was Raph. I didn't write who wrote it down, but it was either Raph or Leo. One of them says, "Pull the stick up," because their car was crashing onto the ground and everything. But it's a steering wheel. It was almost there's no pulling there was no pulling there. It was a steering wheel where they can steer it. Maybe that was a mistake on the animators. Maybe the animators were supposed to make the steering wheel more like a flight stick, or maybe someone messed up with the lines right there. But there was no stick to pull up.
I think they weren't expecting the audience have this much knowledge that you do. They
Probably.
These are kids and...
Yes. They probably are this is our kids. I'm sure if they made this now, that this is things that they would be paying attention to. So for sticklers like me and everything. So
one of the other tank from the Dimension X, if you pay attention, it had a foot sign on it.
Yeah, it had the foot symbol on it. I cannot remember. They said they had this tank had a name, and I forget what it was. I think it was the roller or something like that. I can't remember if they actually made a toy of this or not. Because last episode we had like the foot cruiser, and it was like a little robot, or I mean, not robot. I'm sorry, it was a motorcycle where the two foot soldiers were driving in it. They actually made a toy of that one. But this one, I don't remember if they actually made a toy of this thing or not. And to be honest, I don't know if we ever see this one again. But you're right, there was the foot symbol on it. Maybe at one point they drew this. They're like, hey, we can make a toy of this too. Because obviously when you have a foot symbol there, that is kind of like to tell the kids, hey kids, this is for the bad guys. Don't put the turtles inside.
Yes.
Put Shredder inside.
Yes.
But you know what? Let's talk about the tank here. Because we're going to talk about my favorite section, which is Wrong Turtle Talking.
Oh, okay. You didn't pause the video.
I did not pause the video. I almost was doing it. Here's the thing.
It was Leonardo.
Did Leonardo talk wrong? Because I didn't catch it.
I think I don't know.
You don't know?
I just one point, because I even wrote it. One point, I just felt Leonardo's voice was like weird.
Maybe his voice was weird, but I didn't feel his thing was okay. Here's the reason why I didn't pause it, because I could not find a turtle mistalking.
Oh, really?
No. Now I could be wrong. If I am wrong, if Leonardo was, please, message us, let us know, and I will like go and correct myself. I'll find this and like make sure I know about this. But there is someone who did talk wrong. At one point, Granitor has General Trag's voice, and this was during when they were in the tank and they were attacking the arcade place. And all of a sudden I was like, whoa, and I almost was pausing it. I was like, oh look, and I was like, well, it's not a turtle, and I wanted to do it for the turtles, and but at the same time, I don't know how often do the Stone Warriors get their voices mixed up.
It's funny you're mentioning the arcade machine. I was paying attention to that pinball kind of things. I was curious, like what characters or design is inside it. They were like, I think it was just random two people. I think it was just two random wrestlers.
I think you're right. I know which one you're talking about. I think it's just two random wrestlers. Maybe because at that time, WWF, because we didn't have E back then, that was very popular. It was so popular they made a cartoon series for the WWF. That the World Wildlife Foundation did not take those initials at that time. But yeah, but you're right. It is random wrestlers, and I'm pretty sure they put the wrestlers because that was the popular thing during that time. I think I'll even say wrestling's kind of weird. It gets on and off, because some years it's not popular, then some years it gets popular again. I want to say it's popular again now because I see a lot of people talking about wrestling.
I think it's the only thing because they couldn't put any character, so they said, okay, we choose something from sports, and it's the only sports that doesn't present any kind of brand or. That's
true. You're absolutely right. You're right. It doesn't present any brand. They just have the little underwear. That's all they were wearing. There was two really buff muscular guys with little tiny red and blue underwear. And this was appropriate for kids.
So let's talk about that ball thing which was controlling the weather.
Oh, you know what? I actually wrote about that. I wrote about the weather satellite.
I just know they had different switch, hot shower, total chaos, and I don't know what was the other one. Variable something.
Something like that. One of them has to be winter. All right. The reason why I wrote it down. So I believe this is the only episode that we see this weather satellite thing in the air.
Oh, it was a weather satellite.
That's what they called it. It's a weather ball. I mean, there's no way this is thing as a satellite. A satellite revolves around something. The moon is a satellite. Obviously this is how much research is going on in this series because this ball just hit one place.
I just know what I need now in my life. I need a weather satellite just to control the weather in Georgia.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. What? I think someone does have a weather satellite here in Georgia, and that's why it goes from really cold to really hot in 2 days' time. But The reason I wrote this down, we only see it in this one episode. We don't see it again at all in the series. Not that I remember. I could be wrong, but we're going to find out as we go on. Because obviously I was wrong about the punks. I didn't know we were going to see them again. But this weather satellite does show up in the video game. No. Okay, it shows up in Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game for the NES. The reason I am saying all these mouthful of words is because it is not in the actual arcade. You know that arcade machine I have upstairs? That weather thing is not in that game. When they made the game for the NES, so for children like me that wanted to play it at home because we couldn't afford to have an arcade machine at the house, and we didn't have like cool things like Arcade 1-Up.
Like your son has?
Yeah, exactly. Like my son has. They made it for like the game system that we had in the house that everyone had. And when they made it there, obviously limitations because the graphics is nowhere near as good as that. But when they did it, they added like 2 new levels. One of them was towards the end. It was like with like these weird tiger things that was coming out of like the walls, and I just remember those tigers were annoying to fight. But like the other level was this snow level, and at the end of the level, you actually go and you destroy. Because you have to fight a big polar bear, a polar bear that never shows up in the series. I don't think he has a toy either. You fit in with the series, but like they just put a polar bear in there with a jacket. But at the end of the level, you break the ball, like whichever turtle you're controlling will break the ball, and then all of a sudden, the snow goes away because there was snow throughout the thing. You have to fight snowmen. And there's like the manhole covers is covered in snow, so you walk on it, you fall down and everything.
That's cool.
And then you break the weather satellite ball that was used in this one episode, and then the turtle will come out and say, "Spring is here." And
I think it was actually Leonardo who.
Yes, he was the one that sliced it in 2.
Yes.
Yes. In the video game, it's going to be whoever you control. So it's not. So if you're not playing Leonardo's not going to be the one that breaks it.
Okay.
But that's just.
We didn't see a Splinter in this episode.
We saw him at the end, didn't we? No. No. Yeah. No. We did see Splinter. At one point, the turtles and the Neutrinos go into the sewers. And Splinter talks to them. Am I making that up?
I think you are. Because I remember April was reading the stories for the turtles. No,
before then. This is like the Neutrinos were there.
Oh. No, I don't remember.
I maybe I'm making this up. I could have swore.
Do you want to check that?
Let me check that real fast. Hold on here. Splinter was definitely there. Splinter was definitely there. They definitely talked to Splinter, and because Splinter is the one who because this is like when they talk about Krang and they find out about Krang, and they ask Mike. He's like, "Hey, didn't you see a brain?" And he said, "Yeah," and then Splinter was like, "Oh. This is where Shredder's been getting his advanced technology."
Oh, right. Now I remember.
Now you remember. Exactly. Yes, and speaking of advanced technology, at one point we see the cops. They come out, and they're, shooting at, I believe the Stone Warriors or the Neutrinos. One of them. I think it was the Stone Warriors. But
Stone Warriors.
Yeah. They're shooting at the Stone Warriors, and... You know what's coming out? Their guns is like lasers coming out of their guns.
Yes, I paid attention. It was like blue light.
Yeah, it was like blue lights. It was just like pew 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 pew. But they call it. At one point they said our bullets are not effective. I'm like, no, those are clearly lasers.
It's funny because the bullets from the Bebop and Rocksteady, they were red.
Right.
But from the police it was blue.
That's such a G.I. Joe thing. That is 100% a G.I. Joe thing. Because in G.I. Joe, I know you never watched the series before, but in G.I. Joe, when they made it, the good guys had the blue lasers, and the bad guys had the red lasers.
Star Wars.
Exactly, like Star Wars. 100% like Star Wars. Where like oh that's blue. That person's good. Oh red bad. But yes, and there's actually one animation mistake I caught was when the Stone Warriors are attacking the turtles at the arcade place. Like they're shooting with the lasers, but you didn't actually. The first laser sounds are coming out. There was no lasers like actually being animated.
Oh.
Yeah, they're just like it was just like the still shot of General Trag or Grand Tour, one of them with the gun, and then there was like just nothing coming out.
So speaking of animation, I don't know if I was just thinking it was a good break for animator not to animate the lip sync of the Shredder.
Yeah, you know what? Yes. Yes, that is a big cheat. That there was also another cartoon series called Transformers, where the leader of Transformers didn't have to animate his lips either because he had this thing above it. Like I am sure for the animators that's probably why Shredder is constantly wearing a mask. Because not because it's practical. No, it's because the animators, that's less work for the animators. I think like the animators you saw, like at least the mask actually moved up and down here, and they probably like got the these episodes were done by Toei, who also did Transformers, and so they probably still had that Optimus Prime face mask like thing going there. But yes. But yeah. The animators probably love Shredder. They probably want him to talk so much more.
Yes. Now I'm thinking like probably the animators were asking, we need promotion, we need more money, and they're saying, guess what? We don't promote you, but we give you a break. Just don't animate the face.
The animators definitely get a little break when Shredder starts talking. So something I noticed during that whole Technodrome fight is Mikey had like one nunchuck in his belt the whole time. Like just one nunchuck. In fact, he brought out both of his nunchucks to fight, and he still had one nunchuck in his belt. And like at one point we see one of his nunchucks get like broken by like one of the Stone Warriors. And I'm probably wondering if it's like at one point they're like, oh, we need Mikey to have one nunchuck because it gets broken at this one point. But they just didn't.
From the beginning,
probably some miscommunication. They're like, we're just gonna put that one nunchuck in his whole belt in this whole sequence.
So in the Technodrome, there was a scene that there was a circle, like it looked like a pizza that you're looking at from the top. You're looking at it, and imagine like one slice suddenly like open. And
you mean the floor where like they're fighting? I believe it was Roxanne and Bebop.
Yeah.
And then like Donatello, all of a sudden like he punches like some things on the computer, then that section of the floor like disappears and they fall down.
Yes.
Yes.
To me, that scene was so much like it looked like a pizza. I thought that they did it intentionally.
Maybe they did intentionally. Maybe I think they're going more for like futuristic kind of thing, because like I guess in the like something crazy as the Technodrome would have like just weird panels and doors like everywhere, and I guess including the floor, because really, why do you need that on the floor?
Yeah.
Like if you have this thing that has weapons all around it, are you really expecting people to come inside?
Exactly.
Yeah. Actually, so speaking of the Technodrome, at one point when the Neutrinos comes in, like they come in and they blast through the wall. Oh, like there's an explosion on the wall, but the wall actually doesn't get a hole in it. You don't get to see the hole until like the next scene, and like I know it was an animation mistake, but it was like weird for me. But then like every other time, like the walls get like destroyed, they make sure to put a hole in there.
So for me, the cutest scene was the last scene that the turtles were in the bed and like April was reading the story, and they had a little hook next to the bed, and all of them like hanging the mask.
Yes.
And the cutest thing was Raphael, instead of like a teddy bear or something, was holding the weapon.
Oh yes, he was holding his side. He was like a little teddy bear, like a little child.
Yes.
No, that was a cute. Actually, I really like that part. And do you know what story April was reading to the turtles?
It was a story about turtle.
The Tortoise and the Hare. You know that story, don't you? Did they make that story? Did they have that story in Iran?
No, what is it?
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm going to teach my wife the story about the tortoise and the hare.
I know the story of the turtle and the bunny.
That's exactly the same story.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, it's just like fancier words for turtle and
okay.
it's for fanciest word for turtle and bunny. But yeah, the turtle's slow, the bunny's fast, but the bunny got lazy and the turtle beat the bunny.
Oh, I love that story.
Yes, exactly. That's why April's like reading that to the three turtles, and then Leo comes in like, "We're gonna get the Shredder," and like it sounds like he's about to murder him, like with a sword. Like
It's like they're all like little kids, but suddenly like Leonardo comes and he's like adult and like.
Yes, exactly. Is there anything else you have for this episode? I think I talked about everything on my cards. A card.
I just have a stupid question. I don't know.
Yeah.
You want to keep
No. I want to hear the stupid question.
So the name nutrition isn't it like oxygen nutrition?
It's neutrino. It's not nutrition. It's neutrino.
So you call it in these characters are neutrino, or the chemical thing is neutrino?
No, the characters are called neutrinos.
Oh, okay.
They were the three neutrinos.
Okay.
They were not nutrition. They didn't have they weren't trying to put good stuff in your body. There's no facts about them, like on the side of the box.
Because like the whole episode, I didn't notice that nutritions are these characters. I was all the time looking for kind of chemical things until like the end. I was like, oh, these characters are they call them like neutrino.
Yes, they're neutrinos. Yes, and the neutrinos are gonna come back. You saw Mikey had a little tears in his eyes when he said goodbye to Kala.
Yes.
But yeah, we will see them again. Obviously, if we didn't, I wouldn't have this figure sitting here on this.
There's something wrong with Mikey. He likes the ladies from like other dimensions and space and like timing and all these things.
Well, who's he supposed to find? Is he supposed to find another mutant turtle? Because like so far in this series there was none, and then like I mean there were two other there in this whole 35 years of existence they only made two other female turtles. So he needs obviously he needs to expand his horizon. All right.
Okay, before you end it, I want to say something.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So in I think in the first episode you were asking about the shining effect in the.
Oh yeah, the glowing effect. Yes.
Yes, the glowing effect. I actually looked it up, and they said that what I found out is that there's something called backlight.
Oh.
And in animation, one of the effects that they're using in traditional animation is that what they do, they draw the line of wherever they want to have the glow. They draw the line on the like a black canvas, and then they cut it, and then they shine the light from the back of the canvas.
Oh, that's so cool.
So they get that shining thing. But from the scene that you showed me, I have a feeling they also have some kind of like filter between that the light doesn't come like that sharp.
Gotcha.
That's what I think.
Gotcha. That also makes sense because like the turtles were a little darker in that one scene that I was
Yes. Also, did you know like because when I was reading it, I noticed that there was a Japanese version of like Ninja Turtles. Did you know that?
I do. Hold on here. You mean this?
Oh, you have it.
I do have it. my bootleg DVD
Okay, so we have an episode just for this.
Yes, we have an episode. All right. We will have an episode just for this. This will probably be like way after we finish this series. I don't know. We'll see what the demand is for that. But yes, we will be watching this. This
Because
is
it was very cool. I was reading the first episode was they wanted to sell the super mutant toys.
yeah, those guys.
That's why they make it. For the other episode, they wanted to make another toy.
Yes. That's all. That's basically what it was for.
But it wasn't successful.
No. And when you watch it, you'll see how bad it was.
Oh yeah.
It is so crazy.
Really?
Yes. It is just insane. But yeah, we will do like a special. We'll have to do a special podcast for that one.
Okay.
Yeah. If you guys want to hear that, you let us know. The more you guys talk about it and ask us to do this, we will do it. All right. The faster we do it. So it's up to you guys when we do this. All right. That is all we have about Episode 4, Hot Rodding Teenagers from Dimension X. I'm so glad that we are done, so I never have to say that title ever again. From now on, I'm just going to call this Episode 4 when we have to refer back to it.
And I probably have this Neutrino toy like on my computer desk for a week or something.
That's right. Cal's going to stay on your computer desk for a whole week. Come back and join us next week when we talk about the season 1 finale. Shredder and Splinter. Weird title. So I always find that title very weird. But that's right. In episode 5, we get to season finale. And be sure, if you have any questions or memory or discussion points about this episode, be sure to hit us up on Twitter or Discord or email us at turtlerecallpodcast@gmail.com. We want to hear what you guys say. We will read them out here, guys, for you guys next week. All right. Till next time, guys. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to us. If you have any comments or memories you want to share, be sure to reach out to us on Twitter at Turtle Recall Pod. Turtle Recall is proud to be a part of the Res TV network. Be sure to go to res.tv to check out our podcast and other great podcasts they have available.